The ability to use text in our videos and multimedia projects is immensely powerful, right? We can directly address the audience and tell them what it is that we think they need to know or need to hear. The choices that we make around that are actually rather delicate. And I would put to you that all of the details when you're setting a piece of text really matter, right? The words you choose, how you break the lines, the size, the length of time that it's up, that it's really very detailed work and worth doing, worth taking the time to do. And so I have a little fun movie here that just gets into some of the decision making and how you go about not the tools per se, but how thinking about how to place text on screen. So the first basic piece of vocabulary is the idea of serif and sans serif fonts. A lot of people know this from print work and what have you. So serifs are the little wings, the little feet or tips here. And sans serif are lacking them. And the general rule, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is sort of like conventions or general rules, which is to say you don't need to do it that way, but you should think about the issue and if there's a good reason. For instance, if you're identifying someone from the New York Times and you want to use, the Times New Roman font, a serif font, and it makes sense, it might really make sense. But in general, see if a serif font, sans serif font might work. The little feet don't read as well on the screen, especially as things get small. Generally, err on the side of being a little heavier with your text. Again, fine lines, especially if the video is moving behind them at all, the fine lines can get a little lost. So go a little heavier or bold, or again, at least consider it. Keep your text inside about 10% from the edges. And it just looks good, but also if you're actually playing on a television, the plastic bevels on them, they actually occlude some of the pixels and you don't see everything. So you give yourself a little margin on the text. It looks weird if the text touches the edge. It looks real strange. So give it some space around the edge. Yeah, think about how small someone might be looking at this and size your text accordingly. You might even run a test on here, put it onto your phone and you see the way I did the image there, like maybe someone's even watching your widescreen video, then vertical, then the small text. Think about it. Think about it. Did you get that? Oh, wait, I'll go back. Isn't that annoying? Isn't that annoying when you're watching a video and it's like you're rushing and they take the text away before you finish it? I have a trick for this, which is to time it by reading it out loud. It's not good enough to read it in your head. I mean, use your actual voice to say each word clearly while you're reading it. And then sometimes I'll tap my foot on a longer one. I'll like tap my foot for every line. If there's like 3 lines, I'll read them all out loud and then I'll tap my foot twice or 3 times. But it's annoying when it comes up short. It really is. So yeah, think of this as another element of composition or design, however you think about it, understanding that often you're placing or you have the potential to place text on top of video or on top of photographic images, other, colors if you want. Of course, you could do white on black. You could do very simple stuff, but each one is a visual composition when you add the text to it. A little trick of the trade, I think it comes across here, is to add a little bit of a drop shadow. What I tried to achieve here, and maybe just because well, 2 things, the contrast, right? Some words are shadowed and some are not to give it that pop. It's a little sharp for me, right? Where you're kind of, you don't want to really notice the drop shadow, right? You don't want to do this. You never want someone to be like, ooh, nice drop shadow, right? That's not the point. The point is just give it a little lift off the back. And so I might have overdone it a little bit here in my example. So, use this, play with it, but it's a good technique, but don't overdo it. Yeah, I think I said most of this already. Maybe just a note on, what's appropriate, right? There are times I've got an example where, you can have a lot of fun with it, but, in a news piece, it's not for that, right? In a music video, you could be moving things all over and making it, pop and sizzle and whatever. But be careful with the effects, right? Just because once you get into that stuff and everything starts to move and be doing fancy stuff, like less is more. It really is. And similarly, you can easily get into like templated stuff, right? Like scrolls and treatments and stuff it's already like has the whiz bang in it and you just fill in the text and it all goes. Know that most of those you can tweak them further, right? Like you can also like click into the background color layer and change the background color, or and so own them, right? If you're going to use them, don't just like go with the stock, but see if you can tweak it and make it sort of your own. Oh, here's some nice student examples. Here's a nice composition on screen. I think we actually saw this video already, but it's also kind of low key matching the one behind it. That's a good example. Nice lower third on this one. I think it's the same video. A little bit, you can kind of see the drop shadow kind of faded out till it's just like a mist. And that's really helping here where he's got the white sleeve. It's kind of undercover, but it's really helping like create a faux shadow there. So that's nice. Um, okay, that's just some ideas to play with. And really, the bottom line is just like composing your images with the camera, really think about this, really put the time into what you're saying, what the words you're choosing are. Um, sometimes there's a little poetic license. You might not use punctuation exactly the same way or full sentences exactly the same way. You can take some liberties with grammar. But do put the time into it, and know that there's a different video on the tools in Premiere Pro as well. Okay, have fun with this on your PSAs. Hey, I almost forgot. I have an example for you that I think you'll like. This is a PSA example from a year past, but it's also a really nice use of text. And one of those examples where, you get creative. And if it's appropriate, you can break some of the rules or conventions if it makes sense for your topic. Okay, I think you're going to like this one. It's just about 30 seconds.